It would be an understatement to say that Microsoft's most recent move is stunning. It is a cost increase in disguise. Everyone should pay attention to it. It affects everyone around the world, at least enterprises. Welcome, our dear friends and followers and subscribers. If you are new, my name is Alexander Golev. I am the CEO of SAMexpert. We're a business consulting company that specializes in Microsoft agreements, cloud and licensing costs, and compliance audit defense. We don't sell Microsoft licenses. We help you save money on everything that is Microsoft related. As you may have inferred from what I just said, we're going to talk about Microsoft today. Microsoft has been pretty static recently with Microsoft licensing. And even in April, when we opened the Microsoft product terms, it first seemed like nothing extraordinary happened, but actually did. And it would be an understatement to say that Microsoft's most recent move is stunning. It is a cost increase in disguise. Everyone should pay attention to it. It affects everyone around the world, at least enterprises. Microsoft unbundled Teams from the Microsoft Office 365 and Microsoft 365 suites worldwide. They did it before in Europe in October last year. Now they decided to harmonize subscription plans across the world. So it's a worldwide change. That unbundling of Teams means that from April 2024, Microsoft 365 and Office 365 suites without Teams are available at a reduced price, which potentially may lower costs if you want to use Zoom or Slack or something like it instead of Teams. By all means, subscription plans without Teams cost $2.25 less than traditional enterprise plans with Teams. You don't want to use Teams, you don't have to pay for it, it's $2.25 less. Great. What if you want to use Teams? It becomes complicated. So let's start with the most expensive, with the enterprise plans. If you are an existing subscriber of enterprise plans, E3, E5, and Microsoft Office 365 E1. If you are on those plans, you may continue renewing your subscriptions. If you renew the subscription you have with Teams, you want to keep Teams, unbundling does not affect you. But if you are a new subscriber, then you have no choice. If you want one of those plans, you have to buy them without Teams. And you would have thought if Microsoft reduced the price by $2.25 per user per month, then bringing back Teams will be the same as it was before. Actually not, because Teams Enterprise costs $5.25. So across that spectrum of enterprise plans, all the new subscribers will have to pay $3 per user per month more than the existing subscribers. If that is not a price increase on the Office 365 or Microsoft 365 Enterprise Bundle, tell me what is it? And although in the EU, in the European Economic Alliance and Switzerland, Microsoft was compelled to do that, to unbundle Teams, because they just didn't want to have legal and regulatory burdens in the European Union. They did it to prevent that sort of problems in Europe. They didn't have to do it worldwide. Either something is happening or they just liked the effect of the unbundling in Europe. They looked at it for 6 months, thought, you know what, we're going to do the same. And by doing that, raise the prices on the overall bundle. When they talk about renewing the existing subscription, if there are any changes in your company structure, if you switch from a plan to a plan, it's yet unclear whether you will be able to carry over that existing subscription. Mergers and acquisitions, that's a change of tenant. Tenant migrations from region to region. Switching to MCAE from an enterprise agreement to a new agreement structure. Is it actually keeping the existing subscription? Will they be able to transact it as keeping the existing subscription? I'd like to see that. We're too early in the process to have any statistics yet. People are concerned. And percentage-wise, if a new subscriber or somebody with changed circumstances wants to have an enterprise plan with Teams. Considering that on the enterprise plans, the predominant one is Microsoft 365 E3, the effect on the majority of subscribers is 8% price increase. Again, if you're an existing subscriber, you may continue using the old plan. It does not affect you as long as you change nothing. You keep your existing subscription structure. What can you do about it if you're a clever enterprise, if you have somebody who knows how to negotiate? You can work with us. We can negotiate it for you. I think it's a perfect chance to say, dear Microsoft, we didn't plan for it. We're not getting additional value, discount it for us. Smaller companies and frontline and business plans are less affected. Frontline and business plans continue having a choice. Either to take a plan without Teams, if you want to use Zoom or Slack or something else, or take a plan with Teams. Those with Teams plans are still available for frontline and business plans. Don't make the mistake of taking it without Teams and then suddenly waking up and saying, I should have taken Teams. Then you'll pay a little bit too much compared to what you are benefiting by taking a plan without Teams. Just remember that you have a choice. And we do have feedback from people who don't like Teams, and they're happy about this. There is a discount. It's not as much as on enterprise plans. The smaller the plan is, the smaller is the discount on Teams. And by the way, bringing Teams back still costs you $5.25. Congratulations. Does it address any competition concerns? Maybe. If you compare the price of Teams Enterprise with commercial plans on other messengers, similar messengers, or similar collaboration tools, Teams still is the cheapest. Last time I checked, Slack costed about $8, Zoom costed about $12. They're more expensive. If you like them, why not? If you're keen to keep competing products, well, take the plans without Teams. Our advice right now is negotiate if you have to switch, if this affects you. If you can continue your existing subscriptions as is. You don't want Teams, switch to new subscriptions. But be careful. Once you switch, and then if you want to bring Teams back, that's going to cost you more than it would have costed otherwise. I want to talk about Copilot because interesting things are surrounding Copilot now. Recently, Microsoft promised, they haven't yet, promised to open Microsoft 365 Copilot to frontline workers. And it raises a few questions. Question number one, why? What is the business case? What is the use case for, say, a call center professional to use the full Microsoft 365 Copilot? They probably need Sales Copilot. They are drawn to Dynamics 365. They don't create documents. They don't analyze the data. They answer calls. They need a different tool. Delivery drivers, what are they going to use Copilot for? I'm very curious about use cases because, well, it's a fantastic tool. It's just whether that's a target audience, that's the question. Right now, the majority of companies, 40% across our client base, are at least piloting Copilot, and at most piloting Copilot. They're not using Copilot in a day-to-day business yet for everybody, or at least for the majority of people in the company. So these are still pilot deployments. These are still deployments to either enthusiasts or advanced information workers, those who crunch the data crunchers. Content writers, although content writers are probably much better off with ChatGPT and Gemini. We've heard recently a rumor that we couldn't confirm at all. We tried everything. We tried various inquiries. We couldn't confirm that. The rumor was that Microsoft doesn't see the uptake they expected for Copilot. That person that spread that rumor said that is why they so quickly opened Copilot to business plans faster than expected. And now they're giving this to frontline workers. Who knows? Maybe they have additional capacity. Maybe the uptake is not as fast, but the moves are curious. However, we're still bullish on Microsoft in that regard. Never underestimate the ability of Microsoft to execute. This company very quickly learns from its own mistakes. They are quite agile, and they have a roadmap that looks a few years ahead. They know exactly what new additions, what new products, add-ons, what new movements will be. They're not afraid of adjusting. If you are brave enough to tell me in your comments what is your view on Copilot, please share. It would be very, very interesting to see. The other question is what's going to happen with enterprise agreement? Because Microsoft may start moving enterprise agreement customers to MCAE. What is MCAE? It's effectively the same as CSP, but directly with Microsoft, and it's bundled for enterprise clients. So enterprise agreement clients are already being moved one by one to this new MCAE, Microsoft Customer Agreement for Enterprise. But right now, EA is still available. The rumor is enterprise agreement will stop being available, either to certain segments or maybe to everyone. When? We don't know. Is it going to be like a one-off switch like this? Certainly, we should start watching this space. And there are a few problems with switching to MCAE. Firstly, there is no discount structure. Enterprise agreement has a discount structure. The bigger you are, the bigger discounts you get off the price list. MCAE doesn't have it. Product availability is different. Azure is different. For example, enterprise dev test subscriptions are still not a part of MCAE. And other features, centralized billing is different. I don't know if you've noticed, those who work with Azure, they know, back office-wise, Azure, through an enterprise agreement and through CSP, which is exactly the same as MCAE, are different products. They have different feature sets. There are license management, cost management, and discounting features which differ So it's not a one-to-one transition. You can't just take an enterprise agreement tenant and move it across to MCAE. It's not happening that way. It's very interesting to see how it's all going to be implemented. Again, product availability. Licensing features are different. Software assurance doesn't exist. It's not a one-to-one switch. So watch this space and get prepared. And if you have questions, come to us. Let's chat about it. We received a question a couple of days ago. Where is it written that Windows Server, when it's licensed in a cluster, say in a VMware or any other cluster where machines move, that it cannot be licensed within the server standard without software assurance per virtual machine? Where does it say that you need to license for maximum capacity, and this is why Windows Server data center licenses are preferred? Microsoft Product Terms doesn't say it anywhere. You won't find max capacity in any of the terms in Microsoft Product Terms. But let me explain you why. Because in over 100 audits and over 300 reviews that I was a part of, this has always been Microsoft's approach. I was told by Microsoft back in 2008, I think, that this is the approach. You must license for maximum capacity, which means even if your host can only run 8 virtual machines, but there are 30 machines in the cluster, Microsoft doesn't care. You need to license for 30 virtual machines on each host. That's why data center with unlimited virtualization was the go-to license. And when we officially made a query to Microsoft, please explain it to us, when you could still query Microsoft officially about licensing terms. That was about in 2010. The response was to refer to the rule that a license must be assigned before it's used. If something happens on that cluster and all those machines suddenly move to one host, this host must already have the licenses assigned to that host before that happens. From that rule that license must be assigned before it's used, from that rule stems that it's better to use data center licenses. As long as you have more than 7 virtual machines in a cluster, data center licenses are always cheap. Microsoft licensing is not always obvious. Sometimes some things must be inferred by looking at other rules. We have a question in the chat. I wanted to ask about licensing System Center on virtual machines. Can it be based on a licensing model per individual VM? I think Microsoft does not clearly define this. No, it's actually pretty clear. If you have current licenses for System Center with software assurance or on a subscription, and we're talking about servers, not clients here, servers that are managed by System Center, you may license them per virtual machine. Client operating systems like VDIs, they require different kinds of licenses. They require client management licenses, and that has always been per operating system, not per server. If you, however, for some reason dropped software assurance on your System Center, then you have to assign them, same as with Windows Server, for the maximum capacity. Another question, SQL Server for unlimited virtualization. If I assign SQL Server standard licenses to the host, will it cover all the virtual machines on the host? No, it won't. That is available to SQL Server Enterprise licenses. If you assign SQL Server Enterprise licenses to the host, calculate the savings, because it's not always the most economical option. Nevertheless, if you assign SQL Server Enterprise licenses to the host, they must be with software assurance as well, then you can run as many SQL Server virtual machines, instances, containers, and whatnot, as many SQL servers on that host. It's called unlimited virtualization for SQL Server. SQL Server Standard assigned to the host only allows you to license the SQL Server instances in the physical operating system. There's no unlimited virtualization for SQL Server Standard. Thank you very much. Follow us on LinkedIn, because we're going to run audio events on LinkedIn more frequently than video events. Audio events where you can actually participate and ask your questions live. If you want to, you can raise your hand, we'll give you a mic, you'll ask your question. We're going to discuss everything related to Microsoft and how Microsoft cost fluctuations and licensing changes affect your IT budgets. That's what we are ultimately about, saving your money, letting you buy more licenses and more cloud for less money. Cheers.